Gaming. We have a couple things to talk about. Of course, Stadia's recently being talked about again with what you get for the subscription for Stadia. Keep in mind that there is a Founders Edition that is $130. But that gets you Stadia, a controller, as well as a couple other things.
Chromecast, like a UHD Chromecast.
Yeah. But the subscription is $10 a month, like most of the subscription services are nowadays. And they're saying that you'll get roughly one game per month for free by being a subscriber to the service, which, I mean, that seems about average ish.
Yeah.
But there is a catalog of games that become available while you're a subscriber, right?
No.
There's none of that?
No. Basically the subscription is just for you to be able to play in 4K at 60 frames per second.
Okay.
And you get at least a free game every month.
At least a free game.
Which leaves the possibility open for you getting more than one free game a month, obviously. But
these games that you'd be getting free for a month, would you have to still have the $10 subscription to play them?
Yes. That has been confirmed. Just like Xbox Live and PSN, if your subscription lapses, you won't have access to the games, but if you renew your subscription, you will regain access to the games previously unlocked from your subscription.
Just to say, with the Xbox Games with Gold plan, the games that are still being put out that are on 360, you get to keep those like digitally, even if your subscription lapses. It's the ones that are on Xbox One. Those are the ones that you can't play anymore. So like this month, Castlevania Symphony of the Night, I think that was available for the first 15 days of the month. If your subscription were to lapse, you could still play that. It's a 360 game, but whatever the Xbox One like games were this month, I think they were pretty forgettable. I think one of them was like some crappy party game, like some Mario Party wannabe game, something like that. Okay, go on. Anything more about Stadia?
Not really. That's about it. It was basically like you're going to get at least one game per month. The subscription, actually, yes. They did say that even if a game becomes delisted and unable to purchase through Stadia, that you will still be able to play that game if you purchased it or if you got it for free via the subscription. So similar things are seen on other platforms such as Steam and such, though, so that's not too much of a surprise.
If something gets delisted from Stadia, it'll still be in your Stadia library.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I thought that there was going to be like some, even if it was just like a handful of games, like 5 games that were just available to play if you had a Stadia subscription, something to really test out the damn service. But
apparently, they are giving you Destiny 2 the complete edition
from what it sounds like.
But
if you buy the $10 subscription, you get that one game, and that's as much of demoing as you're going to be able to do. just with that one game for the first month, if you wanted to demo that shit. And Destiny 2, maybe for some people that would be a good game to demo because it's going to have like cross-platform play, I believe, and shit like that. But I don't know.
It would also allow you to like test the limits of Stadia too, because if you set like all the settings to max and stuff like that, ultra settings and stuff like that, you'd be able to experience Destiny 2 probably 4K at 60 frames per second.
But you'd still have to play Destiny 2.
Yeah. I think to be fair, they've done a lot to try and like
So I've heard.
make
Also,
it better and stuff.
Destiny 2 is like
and fix a lot of the stuff
isn't that game like isn't that game like free to play almost on PC? Like they've been giving it out.
Not yet, but there is talk about that Destiny 2 in general is going to be going free to play, and then they're just going to be selling DLCs piecemeal.
Well, it was like a humble monthly deal like last year, maybe about a year ago, and then earlier this year, I think they just gave it away. One of these.
It was something.
It was free for a week. You play the version that's on Blizzard app.
I don't think the game was free. I think it was like a free trial.
Oh no, it was free, man.
Really?
I posted in the game deals. I was like, this you get it now. It's just free, and I dunked on that, and I played just like the intro mission before you go to like one of the hub worlds, and after I did the intro part, I just didn't know what the hell to do, and I just went back to playing Overwatch or whatever else I usually.
Well, that was
play.
fun.
I was testing out the HDR on it, and yeah, pretty good HDR on that one. HDR is pretty wishy-washy on PC, but it looked pretty good on that. So he's just got that going for it.
It's a good game to test out Google service though, if you ask me. Test out how it performs, you know, like if it's actually capable of doing what they say it is at the internet bandwidth that they say it requires.
You know, at the PC game show, they showed they were doing some kind of sponsored deal for, I don't know if it was AMD or Intel or just some kind of hardware company, right? Maybe it was monitors. It was probably monitors, and they had like some people, like some Twitch people. They were playing Destiny 2, demonstrating, you know, how good the hardware was, and it was like that intro at the start of Destiny 2 where it's just like dark hallways when there's fire everywhere, and it was like really cringy because it was like they were just trying to find something good to say about playing it.
I actually remember that.
They were like just
like...
reaching for straws. It was like, where am I going? It was like they're just like really confused about what am I supposed to be doing in here? Because it kind of feels like that. At the beginning of Destiny 2, it's like, okay, wake up in a dark room, some kind of like a spaceship crashed, and it's very linear, but it's there's not all that much action. It's total like, it's a good demo spot, I guess, but at the end of the day, you're kind of like just walking around in a dark hallway.
I hate the opening in Destiny 2 because you move so slow and you're just like really crippled and stuff, and it's just like I'd really just rather get through this bit, please, like quicker. Thank you.
Yeah, let's get on with it.
I want to get to the actual game part, please.
Oh, dude, Metal Gear Solid 5 also. You're like crawling around.
Yeah,
in a hospital. That was whack. After you do that like once or twice, you don't want to do it again. You just want to skip that shit, but you can't.
All right, so we did mention Xbox, and hey, guess what's back at $1 right now? That is Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Think of this as your PSA. If you haven't already upgraded, do what we suggested previously. Buy some gold time if you can, and then upgrade, and then upgrading from regular gold to ultimate will upgrade all your gold time to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate time, which means you can get up to 3 years worth of Game Pass Ultimate for like a fraction of the price.
And if you already have a Xbox Live Gold subscription, you can like add more months to it, add more years to it, and then do that $1 upgrade, and it goes up to 36 months.
Yeah. So you can spend like 60, 120, or 180 on year subscription cards from Amazon or something like that. Just get the code via your email and stuff. Put that in, then spend $1 more, and you're set for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years.
if you already have like 2.5 years of Xbox Live Gold on your account, and then you add another year, it's just going to add 6 more months, and it kind of warns you, like, are you sure you want to do this? Because you can't really have more than 36 months. They don't tell you specifically how it works, but they kind of warn you, like, oh, you're putting too much. Your subscription is overflowing. We can't.
And even if
But
even if you don't, and when you go to like when you go to upgrade, it'll say you can upgrade up to 36 months worth of gold time to ultimate, basically. So it's basically telling you, like, hey, are you sure you want to do this? Like, how much time do you have? Like, double check, rethink a little bit, maybe. But
even if you had 2.5 years of it, if you were to just drop if you were to buy another year of Xbox Live Gold, even if you would only get the 6 months, if you're gonna do the $1 upgrade, you know what I mean. That's where you're really saving money there.
yeah,
But if losing some months that way is too much, just buy 2 years of it. Spend $120 unless you can get the 1 year cards for less. But yeah, just buy a year or two. I mean, take advantage of that and then do the $1 upgrade. Yeah.
So that's our PSA for the day. Next up is id Software's studio director Tim Willits is leaving the studio after well over 20 years. He's been with the studio, I believe, since '94. Let me double check this. Basically, he's been with the studio since 4 years after id Software opened. 24 years. He is leaving after QuakeCon in August. He's been with id Software since '95.
Since Quake.
Oh wow.
He's
Yeah,
been
it's a pretty
with
long.
Software since Quake, actually.
And he started as a level designer and worked on Ultimate Doom and the first 3 Quake games. And then in 2004, he went on to being the lead designer for Doom 3 and for 2011's Rage. He served as the creative director and soon thereafter promoted to studio director in time for Doom 3's re-release in 2012. Since then, he's been the studio director of all id Software's rebooted franchises, including 2016's Doom, Rage 2, Quake Champions, and Doom Eternal, which is due out this November. No mention of the Wolfenstein games, though. So, technically not all of id's rebooted franchises. But yeah, no real word on if he's retiring or starting his own studio or what have you. But odds are he might be retiring because he's been in the game for a long time now. So yeah, best of luck to him in whatever ventures he seeks after. Okay, so we talked about the Nintendo Switch Lite last week, I believe, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Last week.
And now, while it has been speculated, mainly due to leaked forms, that the older Switch is getting a remodel with a longer battery life. They've officially announced it now, and don't expect any updated graphics or anything from this. It's not that type of refresh. If anything, it's just they're making it so that the hardware is more efficient and uses less battery life, so you'll be able to get more mobile game time in on the Switch.
Yeah, I think they did like a micro architecture shrink, so it's like they went from such and such nanometer to something lower. That's essentially what they did. Like that's what AMD did, get down to 7 nanometer, and now they're kicking ass right now.
But like I said before, don't expect any performance boosts or increases or anything like that. Because...
Well, how about the Switch bending and melting and crap like that? That's what I would hope that they would have addressed by now, even if they did it like quietly, like over the last year or two.
I honestly haven't heard anything about that, but I bet this refresh probably will address that. Lower power use probably means less heat too. If they haven't already.
See, when that happened, when that started to come out 2 years ago, that people were having the bend issues and shit, it was like Nintendo denied it. They say like, "Oh, you people are making this up. There is no problem. You're just using it wrong." You know that's what
error.
That's what Nintendo was
Bendgate claiming. For Apple. You guys remember that? It was like people putting their iPhones in their back pockets and then sitting on it. You know, I mean, you can't exactly fit a Switch in your back pocket, but you know, there is a chance that people are like abusing the machine too.
The first Switches that were getting warped the most, they were ones that people were using fairly equally in docked and portable mode.
Actually, you know what? Now you mentioned that, yes, I do remember that. It was getting warped in the dock. I remember that now.
But I think if people just like kept it in the dock and just left it there wasn't as much issues. But people, basically, like
people using the Switch as it was intended were getting bad results.
Actually switching back and forth, getting bad results. It was like the thermal limits were being they're different when it's docked. I mean, it's running a lot hotter when it's docked compared to in portable mode, but just the plastic being
because it has
hot
to put
and then cool
project the gameplay on a larger screen. But yeah, so the old Switch has an average battery life of 2.5 hours to 6.5 hours. Meanwhile, the new version is going to offer approximately between 4.5 and 9 hours. And using Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild as an example, which can run 3 hours on current Switch hardware, is able to run around 5.5 hours on the updated console in mobile mode. So that's an improvement of 2.5 hours.
Okay, I didn't really realize this, but like the Switch's battery life, it's actually similar to the Game Gear for like those real intensive games. Okay?
Wow. Okay, that's a throwback.
Okay, man. Now, if you guys aren't really that familiar with the Game Gear, it was
Sony's answer to the Game Boy.
No, Sega's.
Sega. Yeah, Sega. Sony's answer to the Game Boy was the PSP.
Yes. And it was similar. Okay, so a Game Boy was kind of like a portable Nintendo. Okay, very similar.
Yes, we know what a Game Boy is, Ed.
Okay. No. But when I say Nintendo, I mean an NES. So the NES came out in 1985. Game Boy came out in 89, early 90s. Very similar power to an NES, but it's portable. Okay, So Game Gear was like a portable Sega Master System. Now, Sega Genesis came out in the late 80s, like 89, early 90s. But the Sega Master System was Sega's first console, home console. And that came out, I want to say, in 87-ish. I think some of the earliest games for it, I'm thinking like Space Harrier. I think that was the name of one. I never played one. I never had one. I think it was called like Alex Kidd.
I've seen a Game Gear. I don't think I've ever played one.
A Sega Master System. It used to have a game like preloaded onto the console, so you could always play something. Like there was like
no idea, but we got to move on.
Okay, but Sega Game Gear, it had very poor battery life, but you were getting like Sega Master System level of performance. which
it was leagues ahead of the Game Boy, basically, but because of that, it suffered battery issues.
very much so. And now the new Switch, it's going to have good battery. You know,
Yes.
5 hours. You know, if you're playing a video game for longer than 5 hours, you should probably stop. You know, just a good idea.
Or hook it up into the dock or something.
Ashley, we can't hear you. What's Ashley?
Ashley. There you go.
I don't know. There we go. It wouldn't unmute.
Sometimes you have to really make sure to really press in the button.
I know. I'm like jamming it.
All right. So what were you saying, Ash?
I was saying he was talking about the Game Gear. I was like, I don't think I was alive when it came out.
Game Gear came out in 1993 or 92.
Oh, did it? Then I was
Yes.
just a wee tiny thing.
You were just a wee lass.
Yes.
I had one, and I pretty much.
I had a
never
Game
used
Boy.
it on
I never had a
I
Game
pre-
Gear.
I never used it on batteries. I always used the AC adapter, and I think I even used like a cigarette lighter adapter in a car, some like on the road.
I did that all the
Or
time
going-
when playing Game Boy and stuff on the go. But all right, so we now have the complete list of Ubisoft games that will be available when Uplay Plus launches this September. There are 116 of them.
Are you gonna tell us all of them?
I will give you a brief rundown. Because that is a lot of Assassin's Creed games.
I saw
Yeah,
that.
it's like 1/10 of them will be Assassin's Creed games at least.
So,
Do you like Assassins?
let's start. 2 Anno games, 1800 and 2205. Assassin's Creed 1, Brotherhood, Chronicles, all 3 of the Chronicles games, Freedom Cry, 2 Deluxe Edition, 3 Liberation plus Liberation Remastered, 4 Black Flag, Odyssey, Origins, Revelations, Rogue, Syndicate, and Unity. Those are all the Assassin's Creed games. Beyond Good and Evil, the first one. Brothers in Arms, Earned in Blood, Hell's Highway, and Road to Hill 30. Child of Light, Cold Fear. Far Cry 2, 3, 3 Blood Dragon, 4 Gold Edition, and 5 Gold Edition. Far Cry New Dawn, and Primal. And then that does it for the Far Cry games. Flashback Origin, For Honor, From Dust, Gods and Monsters, which is going to be out February 2020. That's actually one of the games we saw at E3 this year. And so that's interesting. It's going to be launching on their streaming service, very similar to what Microsoft and Xbox are doing with Game Pass. So, curious.
And also, Uplay Plus, it goes hand in hand with Stadia. Like you're going to be able.
You can use it with Stadia, yes, but you don't need to have Stadia to use it. It's worth noting that. I Am Alive, Imperialism 1 and 2, don't know what that is. Might and Magic 9, 7, 8, 10. Might and Magic Heroes 2 and 3, 4 or 5. No, not 4. It's weird. I don't know. They're cutting out versions here, and it's weird. So there's Might and Magic Heroes 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7. Monopoly Plus, Ode, I think it's spelt ODE. Not sure. Panzer General 2 and 3D Assault. Pod Gold, not sure what that is. Prince of Persia 2008. Forgotten Sands, Sands of Time. Two Thrones and Warrior Within. So that's pretty much the entire Prince of Persia series. Rayman 2, 3, Forever, Legends, Origins, and Raving Rabbits. That's all the almost all the Rayman.
Raving Rabbits.
Yeah, that was like a Wii exclusive or something.
Motion control game. So you would do that. You play that with sticks.
I guess.
Play that game. I thought the whole point of that game was using motion control, so you'd be playing that with sticks instead of. I don't know. That's like when I hear raving rabs playing that with like a normal controller. It's like imagine. Can you imagine playing like Wii Sports with a controller? A normal controller kind of loses like kind of the kind of loses.
It kind of loses the point, really.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, then we have the Silent Hunter franchise, which I have no idea what it's about. Actually, no, wait, strike that. I think it's actually about submarines. I might be wrong, but Silent Hunter 2, 3, 4, and 5. Both South Park games, The Fractured But Whole and The Stick of Truth.
And I want that.
How do you say that without giggling?
Did anybody ever play the Acclaim South Park game? It was like a FPS game from like 1998, and it was kind of like Turok. It was on Nintendo 64 and PlayStation.
Did anybody play Tiger Woods PGA Tour 98 or whatever it was that actually held a hidden copy of the South Park, the first episode of South Park?
Oh wow.
When you say first episode, do you mean are
Jesus
you talking
versus
about
Santa?
Well, that's
Like it's like a
short.
yeah, it's a
Okay.
short. It was kind of
it
like
was like a pilot.
yeah, pilot. That's the word I was looking for.
Something that got shopped around. And then
And it was actually
somebody
because
bought it.
of that, because one of the devs liked it and put it on the game disc is the reason why they actually got to make South Park. I believe is the
Oh, wow.
story.
That's funny.
So there's a video. It's like a Seth MacFarlane like film school thesis project where he's like, you know, you're watching it because at the beginning of it, he's like sitting in a lounge chair or some kind of sofa. He's sitting on some kind of sofa, and I think he's wearing like a robe and a pipe. And it's like the earliest work from Seth MacFarlane you can basically see. And there's actually jokes in there that made it into Family Guy. Like he kind of like recycled his own shit. And it's pretty good. But
Seth MacFarlane actually worked for
Cartoon Network. Or
not Cartoon
Hanna-Barbera.
Network.
Hanna-Barbera. He worked on Johnny Bravo.
Yes, he did. I was gonna say, was it Nickelodeon? I think he worked at Nickelodeon for a while before moving to Cartoon Network. I might be wrong on that.
I'd be interested to know if he worked on any '90s Cartoon Network. I mean, on any '90s Nick shows, because that never crossed me. I know he worked.
Actually,
on
maybe
Johnny
it was
Bravo.
maybe it was Cartoon Network because there was a short where a stupid man and his talking dog go shopping.
Yeah.
And that
it
was
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there used to be a show on Cartoon Network called
Oh yeah, cartoons.
Yeah.
and
Or
cartoon.
Cartoons. And I remember being over at my grandma's house. This was back in like 1995, 96, and they just launched this new deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the first cartoon that was on that show, they showed it like all day practically. I don't know. Yeah, this is so strange how they could do this, but the first cartoon as they were called, which was like a pilot cartoon, it was like these two cats that worked at a dry cleaners. I have no idea what it was called, but that's what it was about. Two cats working at a dry cleaners, and they showed it like all fucking day. And the more I think about it, it's just
We're
so
getting
strange.
way off topic.
Okay. Another time on April Fool's Day, they showed us the same Screwy Squirrel cartoon all day too. So that happened once too. That was very strange. They don't do that anymore.
They've done
I
a lot
don't
of
think.
they've done a lot of fun things on
He
April
did do
Fools.
Johnny Bravo.
Yes, he did. That's the one thing.
Dexter's Laboratory, Cow and Chicken, I Am Weasel.
Yeah, he did a lot of like late '90s, early 2000s Cartoon Network stuff. So the South Park games: Speedbuster, Starlink, Steep, The Crew 1 and 2, Settlers 1 through 7, Tom Clancy's End War, Ghost Recon Future Soldier, Ghost Recon Wildlands, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which is coming out in October, So that's another one that's going to be launching on the streaming service, day one. Rainbow Six, Rainbow Six 3, Rainbow Six Lockdown, Rainbow Six Siege, Ultimate Year 4 Edition. Because that is a living, breathing game, so it's constantly being updated. So good to see that they're bringing that to the service as well. Vegas 2, Quarantine, which is another game that's coming next year and is going to be launching on the service. Now, here's something that a bunch of people are going to be really happy to see, and that would be the Splinter Cell games. Splinter Cell, Blacklist, Chaos Theory, Conviction, Double Agent. So that makes me happy too, because I like the Splinter Cell games. They used to be really good. I'd say Chaos Theory is one of the best ones, as well as Blacklist. Despite it being one of the newer ones, it's actually pretty good. They're also including The Division and The Division 2, which is interesting because I believe Division 2 is still an exclusive for Epic. I'm not sure. I'm not sure when that exclusivity ends, but Trackmania Turbo, Transference, Trials games, Evolution, Fusion, and Rising. Uno, Valiant Hearts, which is a really good, really emotional game. You play a dog and you're basically like going through his owners, plural, through the course of either World War I or II. And it's kind of like a puzzly game, but it's a very emotional game too. It's a really good game. The Watch Dogs franchise, 1, 2, and Legion, when Legion launches next year. And then World in Conflict, and then Zombie. And that's the entire list. And it will cost $15 a month and will launch September 3rd in North America and Europe. And the service is also coming to Google Stadia, as Ed previously mentioned.
So I was disappointed that Stadia isn't going to have any. It's not going to have any catalog for you to play games other than the free one that I say free, but you're paying $10 a month for it. So that's the only game you'd be able to play initially. But if you get Stadia, so you'd be out $25 if you pay for Google Stadia Pro and Uplay Plus. So yeah, you'd be out $25, but you would have a lot more games to test out the service, essentially. But just to say $25 a month, that's a lot more expensive than the Game Pass promotion we were talking about earlier.
Yes.
Right.
That's a lot more.